of the Maharaja Sayajirao University geographers, Professor V.A. Janaki Madam and Professor R.N.P. Sinha sir. I am sure that we all will feel enriched with the knowledge at the end of this event. I would also express my gratitude to all who are sincerely participating and committed to this event. Is a great initiative of the Geography Fraternity. Devendra Prasad Sarji and his team with your continuous effort and move up. I heartily welcome and my pranam to all the gurus here, and the program as it goes. We will have a short interaction. I will start and I request Sharadnan Chaudhary ji for welcome address, sir.
Thank you, madam. It is a matter of great pleasure that Geography Fraternity has organized a program. Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Please go on.
It is a matter of great pleasure that the Geography Fraternity has organized a episode of online lecture series, Founders and Makers of Modern Geography in India. The program is being chaired by Professor R.B.P. Singh, former Vice Chancellor Patna University, former Vice Chancellor Nalanda Open University, former President Nagi, former Principal Patna University, Patna College, and former Head of Department of Geography, Patna University. He is a very dynamic personality in India and abroad, and a man of word. I welcome the convener of this program, Professor Bindu M. Bhatt, Professor and Head, the Department of Geography, MS University, MS Vadodara, Gujarat.
Excuse
I welcome
please
chief
mute
guest.
your mics, please.
हमें तो लग रहा है कि भाई साहब का
Please
जितना
mute the
वेट कम
mic.
हो रहा है उतना इनका बढ़ रहा है।
I welcome chief guest,
अरे क्या है? बढ़ रहा है।
Professor Dr. S. Chattopadhyay, National Fellow, URT Institute of Finance and Taxation, Thiruvananthapuram, former Chief Scientist and Resource Analysis Division, Center of Earth Science, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. I welcome a special guest, Professor P. Devli, Head Department of Geography, Gopeshwar S. Dev Suman, Uttarakhand, University Campus, Gopeshwar, Uttarakhand. I welcome the two distinguished guests of honor, Professor V. Imai Barambam of Madurai University, Madurai Kamraj University, and Dr. Sadhna S. Deshmukh of Nagpur, Maharashtra. Likewise, I welcome two stalwart speakers, Professor Rolly Kanchan of former head, professor and head, the MS University Baroda, and Dr. Gayatri Sahai, former principal under Bihar Education Service, RMSA, Bihar Education Project Council, Patna. I welcome Mudit Markand, Assistant Professor of the MS University, Baroda. I cannot forget the name of intercessor, Professor Dr. D.P. Singh, Director, Research, IERDA, Patna, and Vice President Nagi. He is the main architect of this very important program for which we have gathered here. I welcome Dr. Amrit Kumar Roy of PG Department of Geography, BK University, Ara, and Dr. Amit Kumar, Department of Geography, RD DJ College, Munger University, for technical support, without which we cannot came here. Lastly, I welcome all the dignitaries and distinguished participants who have gathered here, whose name is not possible to name of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. As I proceed, now I request Professor Roli Kanchan, former head and professor, Department of Geography, the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda. She will be talking about our legendary Madam Janaki Madam, founder of the Department of Geography at MS University. Madam, please.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes. Yes, madam, you are audible.
Okay, I'll start again. Can you see the screen, please? Is the slide slow visible?
No, ma'am, no.
It will take maybe some time. We can wait for a second.
It's not visible, madam. It's not visible.
Yeah.
It's not visible. I'll restart again. Sorry for the delay. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, madam. Yes.
I'm starting with the screen, please. Is it visible now?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Sorry for the some delay which took place, but on behalf of the Department of Geography, I am privileged to present about the magnanimity of Professor Janaki, and personally myself, convener Madam Professor Bhatt and Mudit Mankad, the assistant professor here. We all have great sense of gratitude towards her, largely because half of the life he will be spending under the department, in the department which he has established. So, this is the present view of the Department of Geography, which was established by her in 1952. And currently, we have two parallel courses, both in science and arts, and subsequently the students with BA in geography also get the masters in science streams, that is MSc in geography. Probably we are the few departments in the maybe who are admitting students with the arts background in the science stream. And Professor V.A. Janaki, whose full name was Mrs. Bengalil Achyuta Menon Janaki Setna, was born on 25th March 1918, and she was here in Baroda till 7th February 2002, and her total lifespan was for 84 years, and maybe two-thirds of her life she spent at Baroda itself. And Professor Janaki was the head since 1952, since inception till her retirement, that June 1987. Subsequently, Professor Rangaswamy, Professor Jayashree Day, myself, Professor Das, and currently Dr. Professor Bindu Bhatt is the head department of geography. In between the gap, I'm sorry, this is one of the first appointment orders which was issued by the Maharaja Sayajirao University, and on 25th July 1959, that I stated that the Professor V.A. Janaki would be the head department of geography. In between the regular heads, there were periods where in charge heads were there, and Dr. C. Gupta headed the department for almost 2 years. After the retirement of V.A. Janaki, and Professor Sinha could come up. And after Professor Jayashree Day's end, the charge was with the dean, and subsequently I looked after the department for a year. Then after Professor A. Ansari was there for almost 4 years, and after, it was for a very short time, for a year or so, Professor Bhatt was also looking after the department when Professor Das resigned because of the health reasons. Now, when coming back to Professor Janaki, she completed her graduation and post-graduation in geography from the Presidency College, Madras, and she was the topper, and she secured first rank. Although during those times we can just see that she got high second class, but she was topping the university. Subsequently, she went to the Oxford University for her B.Lit, and there she was. From there, she was invited by the first Vice Chancellor of the Maharaja Sayajirao University, Srimati Hansa Ben, to establish the department at Vadodara. Hence, she came from Oxford to Baroda in 1952, and thereafter she established the department. Her personal life was also centered around Vadodara when she married Suresh M. Setna, who was a professor of chemistry, and he also became the pro-vice chancellor of the MS University of Baroda. She has a sister. I don't know whether she has or had that information. I could not gather, Madhvi. And she was the niece of V.K. Menon, the former defense minister of India, and rather the first defense minister under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru. I was told that her good friends were Dr. George Kurian, Professor C.D. Deshpande, Professor S.M. Ali, and Professor V.C. Mishra. In fact, when I was when Professor Deven Prasad ji asked me to talk about Janaki, then I was going through one of her personal files. But at the same time, I happened to meet few persons who were associated with her, and they are still alive. They were the students, the clerk, Mr. Shinde, who was working with her, and this all qualities, her personal qualities, I could gather from her. She was a great humanitarian. Mr. Shinde was once telling me that one of the girl came late and according for the examination, but she then Janaki madam was very strict, but because of her personal reasons, her mother was sick. She even allowed her to appear for the examination, even the time did not allow. She was very kind-hearted in the sense, one of her old students told that if anyone would get a scholarship, she would ask to divide amongst 2 or 3 of them. Mr. Ghia told me that she was very strict, and Mr. Shinde told me that she would say that all the files should reach her at 4. She was a very beautiful lady, I was told. And I could gather some of the letters which she has written. And this one letter is of 22nd March 78, in which she was asking for a duty leave. And this is important largely because she was supposed to retire on 31st March. So even after, she was supposed to retire a week later, but then also she was asking for the duty leave for the research work. So she worked till the end for her academics also. Then she was also writing. She was honest in the sense that she was asking for permissions to do outside work because she was associated with the Encyclopedia Britannica, and she has also written few segments about it also. And as you can see on the screen, she was also asking for half pay leave, and hence she was honest, too honest. And I also know when I was heading the Department of Geography, I was seeing the dead stock registered. So even she used to, the smallest of the thing which she used to buy, maybe it was for 25 paisa, a mug, a curtain, the pelmet, everything was very well maintained in the dead stock registers. So basically, she was very meticulous and she was honest also. And she served the department for 29 years, and she was senior lecturer from 52 to 57. Then she became reader from 57 to 63. She was a professor from 63 to 74, a long period of 11 years. Subsequently, she became senior professor for 4 years, and she retired from the services on 31st March 1978. and thereafter she became the UGC professor for 3 years. And after that, she stayed at home and she was active in the sense that she was hale and hearty. And you can see the snapshot of the relieving letter of Professor V.A. Janaki. Now, a very good point about Janaki Madam was that she was a very good administrator, and at the same time she was a very great academician. And I would be trying to touch these 2 points now. And as an administrator, she started the Department of Geography from a room which was partitioned. And in one room she was sitting, and in another part the student classes were going on, and this in the third segment of it some of the teachers were there. Subsequently, because by this time Professor Shetna had become the pro vice chancellor also, she was getting the administrative support of the university also, and then she shifted. She got a big floor. I'm sorry, and this was in the current department of biochemistry, where this makeshift department was established and started. And in 1961-62, she got a full floor, and on the ground floor was the Department of Physics, and on the top floor the Department of Geography was established. And it was in 1970s, probably 1973-74, that the present independent building started, and we are still there. So we owe the present building to her, and we are thankful for her. At that particular time, she started with the preparatory classes, which means 11, 12 also had geography, which was taught. Geography was also taught at commerce, and she went up to the PhD level. And one of the present major achievements which we could see about her is that she made the Department of Geography in the science stream, and so we have a great advantage in terms of the funds. So currently we are enjoying the fruits of the funds of the science faculty, which this faculty of science in MS University gets more funds than as compared to the other faculties. And at that particular time, the geography was also taught at the Padra College, which is the only constituent college which is affiliated to MS University of Baroda. But now this has been discontinued. Now, at that particular time, the staff members were Professor K.R. Dikshit sir, who later on went to France for his PhD and subsequently joined Pune University. But we are we are proud to say that he started his academic life from the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda. Besides him, we have had Dr. C.M. Gupta, B.R. Mishra, Golarkri, Professor Rangaswamy, who's still alive, Mr. M.C. Ghia, who's still alive, Josna Jaiswal, she is now in USA, Syed Madam, who's no more with us, J.K. Parmar, J.P. Vyas, Rizvi, and Rizvi was brought from Saga University, and Ali sir told him, Janaki Madam, to take him, and Professor Jayashree Day, who's still alive, and Mr. R.R. Shah. She just produced 2 PhDs, scholars, and they are Dr. B.R. Mishra and J.K. Parmar. And this is one of the snapshots which is there. And here we can see Madam Janaki, C.M. Gupta, Ghia Sahib, and the entire team which I have told earlier. Besides this, Janaki madam at that particular time, we had two draftsmen, a photographer and a van, which were the additional very important facilities which she had foreseated. So the van with a driver, we had a full-time two draftsmen, and we also had a photographer and a photography lab. Besides this, as far as the university department is concerned, she has gathered all types of rocks, minerals, models, maps, topo sheets of the foreign countries, and a very good part which she initiated was, and which is still continuing, is that we have field-based studies right from our first year BSc, and earlier the cadastral maps were also prepared during these field-based studies. So except for the last 2-3 years, because of the corona, we could not go in for the field-based studies, but right from our BSc to MSc, we have field-based studies. First year we have something like open thing, environment or wetland or something of that general geography seen. In third year BA BSc we go for socio-economic survey. For MSc previous we have a geomorphology tour, and the roots and the seeds were sown by Professor Janaki. Now coming to her academic achievements, because as I was telling you that she was a good administrator and a very good academician, and she was basically a historic. Her academic achievements were in historical geography, political geography, and economic geography. And she published 9 monographs, 24 research articles, and all of them were published from the MS University Baroda Press. And that is why I was able to get them, and I have tried to compile them and what she has written. And there were 27 articles in Encyclopedia Britannica. She has written on the district gazetteers of Gujarat, and she was also the fellow of Royal Geographical Society and American Geographical Society, a rare moment for the geographers in India, and we are proud to announce that and say that. Now from 1962, the 9 monographs which she wrote was the geography of the Patna town, the impact of transport on the population and land use in Wagadia Taluka, functional classification of towns in Gujarat, some aspects of population pattern in different functional groups, Gujarat as the Arabs do it. This is the only monograph which I could not get, but rest of the 8 monographs we have got. And let me tell you here that the all were based on the primary data and extensive field survey, and the maps which were prepared were really good. And Mr. Kanetkar, the then appointed draftsman, had prepared all the maps. Now, this is the first monograph, that is the geography of the Padra town, and Sayyad madam was her student, and it was a joint collaboration because it was her master's project, and the foreword was written by Dr. J.M. Mehta. And in terms of this town, let me tell you that Padra is a very small town, only next to Baroda, and all her monographs, and Padra, the geography of Padra town also is one of them. And this work is based on the intensive field work, and the work has 7 chapters, and it was compiled in 139 pages, and it was a micro level work. In this chapter, she has talked about the regional basis and growth of the Padra town, its demographic features, the functions, the socio-economic aspects, the morphology. And as you can see on the screen itself, this was the morphological map which was prepared by her. And the last chapter is a geographical approach to planning. So basically, in all her monographs, she tried to relate something or the other with the geographical theories or something of that sort. So here in this monograph, she tried to deal with the geographical approach to planning. Then the next the monograph was impact of transport on the population and land use in Vagoria Taluka. This is also adjacent to Baroda, and this was done in collaboration with V.S. Rajan, who was later on known, who joined the department and became the head of the department, and V.C. Rangaswamy. So Sundarajan was her maternal name when she was a student of post graduation, and later on she joined the department also and became the head of the department also. And Vagoria Taluka is once again a adjacent taluka of Baroda, and now in fact it has almost joined the Vadodara city. And this monograph has 55 pages, and she has a very useful understanding she has made between the linkages and the transportation and the land use change. So at that particular time also she saw the impact of transportation on the land use pattern, and she concluded that the positive relationship existed between transport network and the settlement or the population concentration. And a very remarkable feature of this monograph was that she had prepared a village-wise land use map. Now, another monograph was the functional classification of towns in Gujarat, and this was her sole monograph, and this was also read in the geography summer school by her in Nainital by the Department of Geography, Aligarh Muslim University. And this, as you can see from on the slide itself, you can see the functional classification of the towns where she has talked about the towns of the state, and she had made a hierarchy: class 1, class 2, class 3, so on and so forth. And this was really a monograph where she had compared the towns of USA and Gujarat in context to their function, that is agricultural land receiver, agricultural labor, household industries, primary activities, manufacturing, trade, commerce, transport, and communication. So in fact, she, as I was talking to you, her work was, all her monographs were extensive works on the, based on the field work, and she has related them to the existing theories, etc. So here also, this was the monograph where she worked with the classification of C.D. Harry's functional classification of cities in USA. That was the base on which she was working, and this was based on the 1961 census. Then here she was talking in terms of the some aspects of population patterns in the different functional groups of towns. So basically urban geography के उनके काफी रहे हैं. And here again it was 1961 database. In most of our earlier monographs, 1961 data, census data was the base, and she studied about 175 towns of the Gujarat state, and the she talked in terms of the population functional characteristics, and she classified the towns of Gujarat into four classes, and the entire monograph has 80 pages. And as I was talking to you, the monographs are full of maps. And as Dr. DP Singh ji wants me to write on her, then in those pages, I would also try to bring some of her important maps. Now, I am told that this is one of the very best monographs, but unfortunately, I could not get it. It was from urban geography. She has moved towards the historical geography, and Gujarat as the Arabs knew it. And this monograph, I could not get it, so I am not able to explain what she has written in this. Maybe later, if I am able to, I will definitely include it in my writing. Then the next paper which monograph which she wrote was on the Vandha Chalami, and it is on the rural geography, and she has talked in terms of the ancient village patterns in India. And this town is in a Banaskantha district, which is a semi-arid district on the north of Gujarat state, and it is a famous refugee village. And as you can see, once again, the cadastral map and the maps which she has made at that particular time. And here she has, in this monograph, Professor Janaki looked into the rural development history, and she wrote about the physical setting, morphology, demography, socioeconomic pattern in depth about a village. And this monograph has 151 pages with several maps. Then again, I found this to be a very good monograph, and the analysis which she has done in this monograph, because I was reading all her monographs, is still relevant in the present day context. Although I'll not be able to explain it in detail right now, but maybe I would be writing on it. That is Kandla, the gateway of Northwest India. And this is this was called the gateway of Northwest India, and it is situated in the Kutch district, as all of us know. And this was based on the field study for 3 years, that is 1968 to 1971. And here the government of India also helped her, and they also wanted her to prepare a monograph and help her out. And this Kandla post, the present day port, has been, they have taken, the government of India definitely has taken a help of them. And as you can see, she has prepared a cadastral map for the Kandla port, and which is still very relevant. And the entire monograph consists of 6 chapters and in 139 pages, in which she deals with the history of Kandla, deals with the problems of the port, and she talks about Kandla and Gandhidham, which are developed townships, and she deals with the traffic of Kandla port and hinterland area development, and she also talks about the opportunities and development of free trade zones, that is the special economic zones of the current time. And this monograph really helped the government of India and also the government of Gujarat for the further development of the Kandla port, because I was reading through it, and the points which she has raised are really relevant even today. Then one of her strong points, that is the historical geography. She wrote about the historical geography of Surat, and she talked about the Surat and she said that Surat was one of the most busiest post of the western coast, and this monograph also had some relationship with the geography of Arabs in Gujarat. So they are quite related to each other, and you can see that how difficult map was prepared by her in the hand, although Mr. Kanitkar helped her out in doing the giving it the final shape. But there were 50 photographs of different types, and again there were six chapters in it. Chapter 1 was the beginning, describes transport, economy and transport of Surat. Then the third, fourth, and fifth chapters were the analysis of trade in the 17th, 18th, and 19th century, which was the backbone of the monograph. And subsequently, she explained that how the trades of the 17th, 18th, and 19th century changed the landscape of the Surat city. Her next volume was the commerce of Cambay from the earliest period to the 19th century. And once again, it had six chapters, and she talked about the trade route of Cambay in the Middle Ages to 19th century. And as you can see that basically her historical geography was very strong, and she can be considered as one of the stalwarts of the historical geographies. And she talked about the trade and commerce in the different densities of Gujarat from Akbar to Aurangzeb. And she also talked about the decline of the trade in the 18th and the 19th century. And once again, the maps were very attractive and they were there. Now, in fact, she published 27 papers. Her earlier papers were all focusing on the Kerala, where from which she belonged. Then that is the geographical basis of distribution, functional classification of urban settlements in Kerala, rainfall rhythms and rice cultivation in Kerala, historical development of settlements in Kerala. So these were her earlier works, which were largely related to Kerala, from which she belonged. Then in the next segment, she started writing about Gujarat, and also some of the general articles were also published, like tributary area of Baroda, maps and national development, geography of northern frontier of India, carriers for geographers. And then basically came her political geography, where she wrote a large number of articles which were published in the Faculty of Science magazine of MS University of Baroda. And let me tell you, we still have this faculty magazine which is published every year, and it has now, probably because of this ISSN number or something of that sort, we are not able to put ourselves forth. Otherwise, it was a very good magazine, and all of us of the teachers of the MS University always liked to publish in the science faculty magazine. And her works were largely political geography in the third phase, political geography of Malay Archipelago, Indo-China, Gulf of Agwa, crisis in Middle East, Czechoslovakian puzzle, imperialism then and now, old theories and new trends, agony of Bangladesh, Indian Ocean politics, and sea power and sea laws of sea. So these were the papers which largely focused on the political geography of the time. Plus, she wrote the on the district gazetteers also, and she was writing on the physical features. So there were 27 articles, and then she also wrote about the Encyclopedia Britannica, London. She has two very important books. One is on the economic geography, and the other is on political geography. And And both these books again were published from the MS University of Baroda. And this book on the economic geography was published in 1985 after her retirement. So even after her retirement, she was active. And it has 246 pages with 13 chapters. And the approach of writing the book was descriptive and theoretical basis. And it also covered the global scenario of various economies. The book revealed about the historical, human resource, transport, modern industry, socio-cultural, role of capital, role of government and mechanism. So it's a very important book in terms of the economic geography for the students of the economic geography. And I will not repeat again, it has got a large number of flow diagrams and maps. Then her book on political geography was also one of the very pioneer books in political geography, and it was published in 1977. It has got 23 chapters, 238 pages, 19 maps, and there were also at that time she prepared maps. She got the maps prepared in A2 and A3 size of paper. And she talked about the several conflicts of the Indian subcontinent, that is partition of India, India's princely states, water disputes, Kashmir verdict, Bangladesh crisis, north and northeastern frontiers, Chinese aggression of 1962. She also touched about the geopolitical theories of Mackinder, sea power concept, geostatic models, and she introduced about the Indian Ocean and the non-aligned movement in terms of the world politics. So really this is a very pioneer book in terms of for the students of the political geography. And that is how her journey was. She was quite hale and hearty except for maybe last 5-6 years. She was sick for a few years. She fell down, and subsequently, because of the age, her heart got sluggish, and it was working at a capacity of 20 to 25%, and she breathed her last on 7th February 2002, and we lost a legendary. And subsequently, the Department of Geography, under the leadership of Professor Jayashree Day, we sent a condolence message to her, but there was no one whom we could directly contact because she had no children. But in our hearts, we are very grateful to her and we really admire her. And let me tell you on personally, as I'm going through her monographs, I never thought that she was such a big legendary. And I pay my special thanks to Mr. MC Gia, who was a student and subsequently a lecturer, Mr. Dr. A.K. Mekwan, who was a student, my colleague, Professor N.R. Das, and the current laboratory assistant, Mr. Sanjay Joshi, who took out her personal file from the archives of the Department of Geography. And I'm also thankful to Mr. Shinde, who was a laboratory assistant during her time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for taking us through a legend and legendary journey. The immense contribution of Madam Janaki. We will always remember, madam, and we'll try to carry forward your legacy. There are a lot of my students and colleagues attending this event, and I'm sure this is an inspiring journey, right from just one room class to two-story building, so independent for us. Thank you for the event, and thank you, the organizers, for enlightening us with this journey.
Yes.
I proceed, sir. I'll now invite Madam Gayatri Sahai from Patna to deliver lecture on Professor R.N.P. Sinha, again from my own university. He was also my teacher when I joined my first year graduation in 84. May I request Madam to please join?
Madam, you
Madam
please.
is mute. Madam is mute.
Madam is mute. I think somebody has to unmute her. But at least, as my teacher, Sinha sir was very, very warm and always ready to solve problems of we, the students. I remember he was teaching us, yeah, I think Madam has joined. Okay. Madam, please.
Professor DP Singh, sound is not coming.
She's trying, sir. She is trying. She's facing some trouble, but trying.
Madam is mute.
It's not audible.
Now she is unmuted.
I am obliged. I have been given a chance to speak about my respected teacher, Professor Dr. R.N.P. Sinha. I will. He retired from Baroda, but he started his career in Ranchi. I will start with his family background. Dr. Ramnandan Prasad Sinha was born on 15 January 1932 in a middle-class agricultural family in village Simri, Block Dhanarua, district Patna, located about 3 km east of Teregna railway station on Patna-Gaya railway line. His father was a traveling inspector in a private British company called the Imperial Chemical Industries. He was posted in Gaya, so Ramnandan ji had to be in both Simri and Gaya from time to time. His father, late Bindeswari Prasad Sinha, was the youngest among 3 brothers. His father's elder brother was a clerk with Barrister Muhammad Mahmood, who was practicing in Patna, and second brother looked after the agricultural property at home. As his father had touring duty, Ramnandan ji and his elder brother were shifted to Patna under the guardianship of their elder uncle for pursuing their studies. He was second among 4 brothers. His elder brother Jamna Prasad Singh served as an assistant teacher in high school Masauri, Patna. He is no more. His third brother Brajnandan Prasad Sinha remained a bachelor till he left for heavenly abode this year. His youngest brother Srikant Sinha became a computer scientist and is now an American citizen. Ramnandan ji had the fortune of having 2 younger sisters who left for heavenly abode. His wife, Dr. Chandraprabha Sinha, was a very supporting wife and loving mother. They had 2 sons together. His elder son, Dr. Harish Chandra, is a doctor in USA, and his wife, Dr. Nivedita Chaudhary. They have 2 sons, Rohan and Devraj. And his younger son, Mr. Manish Chandra Sinha, works in the custom department in Gujarat, and his wife is Mrs. Reena Sinha. They have 2 sons, Kunal and Vishal. Let us have a view about his education. As he recalls, he went to school for the first time in Gaya, Purani Godam. He had to be virtually carried to the school across the road, and when he finally freed himself from the clutches of the person carrying him, falling on the road and howling, which in turn attracted several passers-by. But ultimately he was taken before the headmaster. This was the initiation of his educational career. However, he had to start his education in second time in the primary girls' school in his village, where it started with a puja and ritual associated with it. He studied at both places in village for some years before he was shifted to Patna with his uncle. He got admitted to a private pathshala situated in Daldali Bazar. After a few years, he got admitted in class 6 in Patliputra High School, which was situated in a private building in Kadamkua. He passed the matriculation examination from this school in 1946. Professor Sinha wished to join the science stream to qualify MBBS examination, but unfortunately, he could not score high marks in mathematics, which was a must at that time, and he got admitted to arts stream IA at Patna College, Patna University, and completed BA Honours in Geography in 1950, MA in 1952, and he got a PhD degree from same university in 1961. The topic of his thesis was land use changes in the Canal irrigated area of Patna district, Bihar. The thesis highlighted the change in land use in 8 villages among Kurkuri, a distributary of the Son Canal, after the introduction of canal irrigation. It was observed that the canal irrigation expanded the irrigated area along the canal, which led the expansion of agricultural area, and consequently it led to reduction of area under orchards, grasslands, and non-agricultural area like grasslands and open spaces like playgrounds and grazing lands. The economic impact of this phenomena was brought out very well in his thesis work. Let us have an idea about his educational and teaching experience. Initially, Ramnandanji was appointed as a temporary lecturer, now known as assistant professor, in the Department of Geography at Ranchi College in 1956. After 6 months, he was relieved from Ranchi College and got an appointment in 1957 on a similar post in the Department of Geography, Patna University, in the vacancy caused by Dr. Pradyuman Prasad Kiran, who left this department after getting a teaching job in the University of Lexington, State of Kentucky, USA. Professor Sinha served this department as a reader till 15th August 1980, when he was appointed professor and head of the Department of Geography at Maharaja Sayajirao University, Baroda, now known as Vadodara, in Gujarat. Here he took classes in political geography, rural geography, and history of geographical thought and research methodology. He served the department for about 12 years and retired in December 1992. Before retirement, he had the opportunity of taking classes in Middle East, classes for one semester in 1988 at the Department of Geography, University of Lexington, Kentucky, USA, under the USA Fulbright Scholarship. After retirement, the Manipur University Imphal invited him as a visiting professor from November 1992 to October 1993 under the UGC scheme, where he took classes in political geography and history of geographical thought and research methodology. Under his guidance, 4 PhD theses were submitted and awarded degrees. First one is Usha Kiran Lal. Thesis was on political geography of the Indian Ocean. She got a degree in 1980 from Patna University. Second, Brajraj Kumar Sinha. His thesis was on human resource utilization in block Dhanarua district, Patna, Bihar. He got the degree in January 1988. His findings are the highest human resource utilization was in agriculture. The scholar got an appointment as a lecturer in Department of Geography, Shanti Niketan University, West Bengal. Thereafter, shifted to Banaras Hindu University as a reader and retired as professor and head of the Department of Geography. Third is Dr. Rizvi. His thesis was on land use dynamics at MS University, Baroda. He was lecturer and reader in the Department of Geography in the same department. Fourth is Dr. Girindra Kumar. His thesis was on resource regionalization of Nagaland at Patna University. He became professor and head of the Department of Geography, University of Mizoram, Aizawl. We don't know the year of award of degree of these two candidates. Let us talk about work experience of Professor Sinha. Posts held: lecturer, Ranchi College, Ranchi, then Bihar University, September 1955 to February 1956. Second, lecturer, Patna University, Patna, 1956 to 1974. Third, reader, Patna University, 1974 to 1980. Fourth, professor in MS University, Baroda, Gujarat, 1980 to June 1992. Head of the department from 1980 to 1987. Fifth is visiting professor on Fulbright Fellowship, as I mentioned earlier, at the Department of Geography, University of Kentucky, Lexington, USA, September 1988 to December 1988. Then visiting professor, Department of Geography, Manipal University, from November 1992 to October 1993. Subjects taught: land use and planning, political geography, geography of marine affairs, regional development planning, history of geographical thought and research methodology, environment and man, including environmental impact assessment, Africa, and cartography. Research projects completed. First one is political patterns in India, northeast in India's northeastern region. ICSSR project, 1972 to 74. Second is Diagnostic Survey for Integrated Rural Development in Sinha Taluka, District Vadodara, Gujarat, MS University, Baroda. Third is Land Use and Cropping Survey and Mapping in the Narmada Command Area Zone 4A and B, sponsored by Narmada Planning Group, Department of Irrigation, Government of Gujarat. Cost is also mentioned here, 95,000 rupees. Fourth is completed a book, Global Geostrategic Views and Indian Perspective under the UGC University Level Writing Scheme in 1992. Seminars and symposia attended, arranged by MS University, Baroda. First, Geography and Rural Development, sponsored by UGC New Delhi, 1982. Second, Geography and Business, sponsored by UGC, 1984. Third, Geography of the Current Political Situation in India, sponsored by UGC, 1990. Honors conferred to him. Granted Fulbright Fellowship by the US Educational Foundation in India, 1988. Second, invited as visiting professor in the Department of Geography, University of Kentucky, USA, 1988. Third, delivered invited lectures on geopolitical consequences of partition of the Indian subcontinent in the Department of Geography, University of South Columbia, October 1988. Fourth, delivered invited extramural lecture Mahatma Gandhi, Nationalism and Globalism at the University of Wisconsin, Platteville, USA, December 1988. Fifth, delivered 2 lectures on geographical foundations of international understanding at the Gujarat Vidyapeeth, Ahmedabad, 1985 under the UGC program. Sixth, presented invited paper on Narmada project, development of water resources and the impact on environment at the International Conference of Geographical Scientists, Geographical Societies, theme water and environment. Mesilla, New Mexico, USA, August 1990. Seventh, invited as visiting projector by the Manipur University, Imphal, November 1992, October 1993. Eighth is delivered a lecture on priorities in geographic research in Northeast India at a seminar in the Manipur University, Imphal in 1993. Foreign visits. First, USA to attend the annual meet of the Association of American Geographers at Philadelphia in 1979. Fulbright Fellow, 1988. Attended ICGS meet in 1990. Second is Canada, Mexico and UK in 1979 and UK also in 1990. Third, he trekked from Kathmandu to Darjeeling in May-June 1953. Books published, authored by him. First, Nepal Ki Janaki in Hindi, a monograph based on trekking through the eastern hill district of Nepal, published by Pustak Bhandar, Patna in 1953. Second, Africa in Hindi, translation of LD Stamps Africa, a study in tropical development, published by Hindi Granth Academy, Patna, Bihar. It remained unpublished as the manuscript was burned in fire on the press. Third, Prithvi Parichay 3, Bihar, Textbook Publishing Corporation, Patna. Fourth, Environment and Human Response, Concept, Publishers, New Delhi, 1992. Fifth is Geography and Rural Development, Concept Publishers, New Delhi, 1992. Geography and Business, it is in manuscript stage. Global Geostrategic Views and Indian Perspective, prepared under UGC University Level Book Writing Scheme 1992. Bibliography of Frontiers and Boundaries. Its manuscript is ready. Now, articles. He has wrote articles on land use, political geography, and third group can be miscellaneous. Land use. First, orchard arable land use conflict in some selected villages of Patna district, Bihar. National Geographical Journal of India, Varanasi, March 1962. Second, climatic cycle, agricultural rhythm and local proverbs in the Canal, in the Canal irrigated areas of Patna district, Bihar. Patna University Journal, Volume 18, Number 2, 1963. Third is present land use pattern in the Canal irrigated areas of Patna district. Geographical Outlook, Ranchi, Volume 4, 1965. Fourth is land capability classification in a canal irrigated area of Patna district, Bihar. Journal of the Soil and Water Conservation in India, Patna, January to June 1966. Fifth is relationship between agricultural manpower and land resource in South Bihar Plain, co-authored with Dr. B.R.K. Sinha. Rural Systems, Volume 4, Varanasi, 1986. Sixth is the choice before the Indian small farmers, Geographical Perspective, Volume 1, Number 2, September 1987, Patna. Seventh is food system in cotton growing areas of Gujarat, a case study with Vadodara in food systems of the world by M. Shafi and Aziz. Rawat Publications, Jaipur, 1989. Articles on political geography. Antarctica in International Diplomacy, Current Events, Dehradun, New Year, number 1957. Jordanian Whirlwind, The Modern Review, Calcutta, July 1957. Jammu and Kashmir, Focus, New York, September 1962. The Situation in Oman, A Geopolitical Analysis, Patna University Journal, Volume 8, Number 3, 1963. Concept of circulation in Vedic India. Transactions of Indian Council of Geography, Patna, Volume 5, 1968. Geography of International Understanding, Science Week, Special Rajendra College, Chhapra, Bihar, Volume 1, 1971. Chattani Durg, Gibraltar, in Hindi, Saptahik Hindustan, Delhi, 1967. Diego Garcia, A Geostrategic View, Geographical Outlook, Ranchi, 1998. अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सद्भावना के भौगोलिक आधार, भूविज्ञान, वाराणसी, 1985. नागालैंड in Hindi, भूविज्ञान दर्पण, Volume 1, Number 1, Varanasi, 1987. Tribal Boundary Concepts, a case study in the Garo Hills, Proceedings, Association of American Geographers, 1978, New Orleans, and in R.N.P. Sinha, edited by him, Environmental and Human Response Concept Publication Co, New Delhi, 1990. Nehru's World Views, a Geographical Assessment, Abstract in Political Geography of Nagy's Proceedings, New Delhi. Evolution of Indian Geopolitics, Geopolitics, presented at a conference at the Department of Geography, University of Pune. Miscellaneous articles. Mica industry and rural community in the Kodarma area, Geographical Review of India, Calcutta, June 1953. Natural factors affecting mica production in the Kodarma region, the National Geographers, Allahabad, December 1958. Power development in Bihar, Transactions in the Indian Council of Geographers, Patna, Volume 4, December 1967. Nigeria, Nile and Natal, हिंदी शब्दकोश काशी नगरी प्रचारिणी सभा वाराणसी. Cartographic Revolution in Modern Geographical Concepts by Prasad Banerjee and Dutt, Bardhaman University, 1985. Monitoring Desertification and Environmental Impact Assessment in A.K. Tiwari, Desertification Monitoring and Control, 1988, Scientific Publication, Jodhpur. Relevance of Geography in Business Pursuits in V.K. Srivastava, Commercial Activities and Rural Development in South Asia, Concept Publications, New Delhi, 1988. Impact of Industrialization in Regional Development with special reference to Gujarat in N.K.P. Sinha and M.B. Singh, Lotus Publication, Varanasi, 1989, New Dimensions of Industrial Geography. Geopolitics and Introduction, Geopolitic View, Volume 1, 1995. Regional Development, Geopolitics Approach, The Gandhi Way, Volume 116, Summer 2013, George Paxton Gandhi Foundation, London, UK. Women's Reservation in Democracy as Gandhi Show It, Mahatma Gandhi Foundation, Mumbai, newsletter, October 2013. Viability of one-year PG diploma course in cartography at INCA seminar on cartography education, Hyderabad, September 16 to 17, 1982. Now, about his contribution to his own dialect, Maghi. Professor Sinha has done pioneering work in Maghi language and literature and published several books and papers besides editing a journal, Bihan, initially monthly letter and then quarterly for a long time. Books: novel Admi Adevta, Bihar Maghi Mandal, English translated Man and the Gods at Amazon. Second, drama Kaumudi Mahotsav, translated from Sanskrit. Third, short story Maghi Kahani Sangaran, edited short stories with Dr. Shrikant Sastri. Fourth, personal essays Kalam Asapna, edited with Kesri Kumar. Folklore Kissa Raja Dholan Rani Marua, Bihar Maghi Mandal. Folk songs Maghi Lokgeet, edited with Dr. Shrikant Sastri. Hori Ho, collected with Ganesh Prasad Sharma and edited. Translation of Dhrut Katha of Haribhadra Suri's Prakrit. Maghi Durga Shapsati from Sanskrit. Katha Satya Narayan Bharat from Sanskrit. Novel Ghar Na Phoote, translation of Odyssey novel by Kali Charan Panigrahi. Maghi Mandal, Bihar. Wrote 3 important research papers in Maghi on its brief discuss origin of Maghi language literature, its decline, its regeneration, its current status and future prospects. Modern Maghi literature, Prakrit Sahitya in Hindi Sahitya Ka Itihas, published by Nagari Pracharni Sabha, Varanasi, Volume 16. Lok Bhasha Khand, edited by Mahapandit Rahul Sankirtan in 1957. Maghi literature in Bihar. In the Comprehensive History of Bihar, edited Kali Kinkar Datta, Kashi Prasad Jaiswal Research Institute, Patna. Preservation of Maghi language in Hindi, Contemporary Development in Handbook of the Changing World, Language Map, Stanley Dr. Brun Gerin Springer. मगही लोक साहित्य की सांस्कृतिक पृष्ठभूमि. कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड ऑफ मगही फोक लिटरेचर इन सच्चिदानंद, बिहार की लोक संस्कृति, पटना, श्री ब्रजकिशोर स्मारक प्रतिष्ठान, सदाकत आश्रम. Geographic interest. As a geographer, Professor Sinha, along with his friends, went to Nepal on exploration, as discussed earlier. The party entered Kathmandu, moving across the first Himalayan range on foot. From Kathmandu, the party, along with a bharia porter, traveled on foot to Darjeeling, distance about 200 miles, and it took them about a month to cover the distance. They stayed in makeshift tents, village houses, or district headquarters. Based on the experience of this journey, Ramanandan ji wrote a book, Nepal Ki Jhanki, which was published by Pustak Bhandar, Patna. Professor Sinha traveled through all the states of the seven sisters of Northeast India, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, in connection with a research project, The Political Pattern of Northeast India, funded by the Indian Council of Social Science Research, ICSSR, New Delhi. On his special request, I will the idea to start geopolitics studies was first mooted on February 5, 1991 at the concluding session of the UGC-sponsored national seminar on current political situation in India, organized in the Department of Geography, Faculty of Science, Maharaja Sayajirao, University of Baroda. One of the suggestions mooted therein ran as follows: political geographers in India should develop a distinctive Indian approach to the relation between geography and politics, mediated by ethics and morality, which the director of the seminar, Professor Sinha, liked to call as geopolitics, Bhushil Niti in Hindi. The idea was given a concrete shape about 4 years later on 2nd October 1995, the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, when a group of academicians from the disciplines of geography, political science, and history met in Patna on the auspicious day and laid the foundation of a study center named the Center for Geopolitics Studies. The term geopolitics was coined as an antithesis of the well-known but much maligned term geopolitics, which was first used by a Swedish political scientist, Rudolf Kjellén, in an article on the boundaries of Sweden published in Swedish geographical journal Weimar in 1899. The very origin of the term was shrouded in imperialistic design. It defined geopolitics as the science which conceived the state as a geographical organism, as a phenomena in the space, and said power is the most important attribute of the state, more important than law, which can be maintained by power. In his words, state does not engage in activities for some ethical purpose or primarily in the interest of its citizens, but for its own sake, in order to strengthen itself internally and externally, in order to have power. His emphasis is on the state as a biological organism. The territory of the state, according to him, is its body. It must grow either by colonialism, amalgamation, or conquest. Thus, the term Lebensraum, living space, became a code word for state expansion at the cost of its neighbors. Thus, both Kjellén concepts of power and biological organism were bound to lead to international conflict and war, which therefore were immoral and unethical. Immediately, his geopolitical ideas were taken over by German geographer headed by Horshofer and were made subservient to the German war machine. Geographic concepts and methods were under the geopolitical banner, but into the service of the politicians for the sole purpose of aggrandizement of the state. Later, during and after the World War II, British, American, Italian, and Japanese geopoliticians viewed the world through geopolitical glasses and propounded nation-centric theories of global conflict and world domination. As a consequence, the term geopolitics became so defamed that there were many departments and whole universities, not to speak of publishing houses, which never let the subject of geopolitics pass their doorstep. But today, geopolitics is again in, though it has never ceased to be espoused by the geostrategic thinkers and politicians. Many are advancing ideas of a new world order aimed at bringing about world peace. But all such ideas based on the old geopolitical concepts are bound to be doomed. The main reason for this is that all such thinkings are founded primarily on violent means of structuring the world maps. Second, concept of military power and balance of power on regional and global scale. And third, exploitation of the weak by the strong. To view the world from a new angle has therefore become imperative. The geopolitic view is one attempt in this direction. But before this term is explained, it will be better to review some other ideas and have been put forth as antithesis of geopolitics. One idea was geopacifics, advanced by Griffith Taylor as far back as in 1951, at the time when the world's nations were being tormented by the superpower rivalry between the USA and then Soviet Union. He gave a wide picture of cultural geography in a series of 4 volumes: Environment and Race, 1927, Environment and Nation, 1936, Urban Geography, 1949, and Our Evolving Civilization, and in Introduction to Geopacifics, 1947. He called them collectively as a treatise of geopacifics as the new department of geography and antithesis of geopolitics. He summarized his ideas as follows. Geopacifics is an attempt to base the teaching of freedom and humanity upon real geographical deductions. In a sense, it is humanized geopolitics. It shows, for instance, from a study of world plan where the leading nations must arise, be it understood to lead, not to conquer. It shows how the conflicts based on racial differences are usually absurd. It shows that we should study environment control so as to advance the harmony with our environment. But he himself admitted it was a material philosophy, though not a complete one, because it did not pretend to discuss those basic principles which properly belong to distinct ethical disciplines. But the concept could not catch the attention either of the academia or the political theoreticians. But want of any sound theoretical underpinnings, beside in his own understanding, there was nothing ethical about it with which we are presently concerned. Recently, the term geopolynomics has been introduced by Demko 1994, but it is not an antithesis of geopolitics. It only emphasizes the economic component of the inter-state relationship over the geostrategic. In his view, applied political geography, the politics and geopolynomics, is emerging rapidly and vigorously. It is a subfield and ambitiously attempts to explain the prevailing distribution and cultural influences, economic linkages, political power, and military forces, as well as to better understand the processes that after these distributions, international financial networks and intercorporate trade and investment patterns will to a large extent redraw the economic map of the world, on which places will have less geostrategic significance than telecommunication channels. Under these circumstances, nature and sovereignty of nations is being questioned. The immutability of international boundaries are being questioned by virtue of environmental catastrophe, racial minority and human rights problems, and the development of weapons of mass destruction. Economic penetration by powerful multinationals and the clandestine economic bullying by economic powers pose grave threat to third world countries. From Indian point of view, all these concepts fail to meet the needs of situation as they are based on Western concept of power, materialism, power politics and violence. We have therefore tried to approach the problem through the concept of geopolitics. This term is a combination of three different ideas: geography, shield, and politics. Interrelationship between geography and politics is signified by the well-known term geopolitics and the term shield. Put between geography and politics signifies geopolitics mediated by shield, which, having no equivalence in English, has been put to mean jointly as morality and ethics. Thus, by the term geopolitics, we mean moralistic and ethical geopolitics. The term geography and politics being well known, the new term shield needs to be looked into a bit closely. Shield is a Sanskrit term meaning right conduct or morality and ethics. In Buddhism, it comprises three stages along the Eightfold Path: right speech, right action, and right livelihood. In the words of Radha Krishnan, the Buddhist idea of sila, a good conduct, is a universal need for social discipline, cultural growth, and peaceful coexistence of human beings. Right conduct aim to realize a state of mind where all diversity is merged into oneness. By intercalcating the term shield, we wish geopolitics to take into account the moral and ethical values in the behavior of states in keeping with the Indian tradition as enshrined in the Vedas, Upanishads, Ramayana and Mahabharata, Kautilya, and not the least, the ideas of Mahatma Gandhi. According to Indian tradition, the state should not covet the territory of other states to gain power. The aim may not be world conquest by acquiring material power in terms of wealth, resources, and weapons, but to serve the world through benevolent power by doing service to humanity. The welfare of mankind instead of Shastra Vijay, conquest by arm, one should strive for Shastra Vijay, conquest by wisdom, based on the tenets of Dharma in its widest manifestations. In the Indian tradition, also the state is considered as an organism, but emphasis is not on expansion of its limbs, the territory, but on strengthening of its soul, moral and ethical prowess. The state is believed to behave as a human being, the same moral and ethical principles being applicable to the state as they are applicable to an individual. Here, morality is concerned with self in case of an individual and internal relations in case of a state, while ethics is concerned with relation with others, that is, social and interpersonal relations of the individual and external or interstate relations of the state. So far as the interstate relations are concerned, we may take advantage of the oceanic and concentric circles model of Gandhi, in contrast to the modern political system, which is pyramidal with the apex sustained by the bottom. Gandhi envisages a policy of a kind of a system of oceanic concentric circles with the individual as the focal point and the other units as ever widening, never ascending circles, culminating finally in the entire world. This visualizes the entire system as an organic family composed of the primary units of the individuals. Each circle has backward and forward linkages. The large circle getting support from the smaller circle, the smaller getting strength from the larger ones. This means free intercourse and give and take among all the units in the system in a spirit of healthy interdependence and mutual relationship. Within the system, there is no dominance of one over the other. Rather, all thrive thinking and acting in a spirit of service to others. Power is not concentrated at one level but is decentralized so that each intervening unit between the individual and world organization enjoys requisite authority and resources. The economy of the unit is to be free from exploitation in every shape and form. The basis of success of each unit of the system is to be self-improvement through self-transformation aiming at self-sacrifice. The ultimate objective is the establishment of a world federation or international league. In this scheme, based on non-violence, the smallest nation will feel as tall as the tallest. Gandhi, Young India, February 11, 1939. He believed that such world order will progressively advance towards the ultimate goal of building a non-violent society, Sarvodaya. Geopolitics will aim to study the events and conflicts at various levels, village, panchayat, these two being the most vital component of India and the rest of developing world. Local, regional and global in the light of Indian tradition and try to find a workable solution to the problem, the motto being Mitrasya Chakshusha Samikshamahe. May we examine each other from the viewpoint of a friend. Now let us very briefly view the contents, approaches, methods and purposes of geopolitics. Geopolitics is defined as the study of interrelationship between geography and politics in the light of moralistic and ethical principles. Thus, for subject matter, we explore the broad range of topics covered under various disciplines such as geography, political science, philosophy, religion, history, economics, military science, and of course sociology and psychology. Besides, we closely explore Gandhian literature for insight into the problems at hand and their probable solution. Our main emphasis will be on conflict resolution, others will be value system and public policy. Besides, all the subjects studied under political geography and geopolitics will be taken care of. Our approach to the problems will decidedly be Gandhian, based on basic tenets of truth and nonviolence, together with all the approaches applied in case of political geography and geopolitics. Our method of study will also be in keeping with the Gandhian approach. The following steps may be taken on way to resolving a conflict situation. First, arriving at the truth of the situation by objectively exploring the viewpoint on each side. Second, finding the common ground at trying to narrow down the gaps of divergencies. Third, bringing the parties across the table, first alone, thereafter if needed be with a counselor, that is conciliation. Fourth, if the conflict is not resolved, trying to persuade them for arbitration. Purpose of all these studies will be welfare of the people or parties concerned with a view to improve mental peace and quality of life and ultimately to bring about peace and prosperity on a wide area of the globe as possible. Penultimate objective being the building up of a new benevolent world order given to world peace.
Thank you very much, madam. It was a elaborate portrait of Sir, his contribution and his achievement to Department of Geography, as Department of Geography, MS University, and to the fraternity at large. Thank you once again, madam. May I now request a guest of honor of the day, Professor V. Sir is there, yes. Imayavaram from
Yes,
yeah.
madam. I am Imaya Varamban.
Yes, sir. Professor and Head Department of Geography, School of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences, Madurai Kamaraj University, Madurai. Sir, may We have you now. Hello, sir. Yes, sir, please.
Thank you, madam, for your nice introduction. Great occasion of today event, Professor Rudi Kanjan and the speaker Dr. Gayatri Sinha and the Sadhana S. Deshpande, guest of honor, and Professor Sardayan Chaudhary, welcome, given welcome address. And I really feel happy to participate in this.
Not audible.
Professor V.A. Janaki and Professor R.N.P. Sinha. Really happy to participate in this very useful series. And I come forward and work in this for the betterment of geography because our ancestors, Professor V. Janaki and Professor R.N.P. Sinha, they really contributed well for the development of geography in India. And I must thank Professor Devendra P. Singh for given invitation and to participate in this 23rd episode. I really thank you. And I would like to give some brief about the
Sir, you
earlier. It
are
was
not
functioning as
audible.
a
Maybe connectivity problem.
Yes, it seems so.
functioning as that the seed for the School of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences Department of Geography Department. The present growth of the school as and the tireless effort and was responsible for department started its academic mainly for the teachers working in the schools and also PhD geography started in 1975 and the MSc joined the course in 1976. Recognition when it was identified as the nodal center for teachers in geography. course at the MSc with a thrust on one stream tracking the regular geography. To cope up with the MSc geography course was brought under the scheme. The two departments have been brought boost when the UGC accorded Special Assistant Program in 2007, and Sangu also the Department of Geography got a 1-year advanced post. 6.50 lakhs was sanctioned for a 5-year period. By becoming one among the 9 universities in the entire country, nanosciences branches of study. Under this holistic development and atmospheric science, a grant of rupees 103 lakhs sanctioned for any project under holistic development and is on scheme. Holistic development and is almost 2 times that. School. 10 research fellows have been done in project number 6 and has sanctioned an Again, it is important to note that this is the only project which was given additional financial grant in the entire EP scheme. Thus, it may be seen that the School of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences has been functioning as an active academic research and training node for geography in the southern parts of the Tamil Nadu. I really happy to share the developmental activity of our department in the Madurai Kamaraj University. The chance given by Devendra Prasad Singh, I must grateful to TP Singh sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Thank
sir.
Dr. Bindu Bhatt and RVP Singh also.
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing information and your remarks. May I request now guest of honor, Madam Sadhana Deshpandeji from Nagpur. She retired head Department of Geography, Vasantrao Nayak Government Institute of Arts and Social Sciences. May we have your remarks, madam, for the date?
Thank you, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. First of all, I must say thank you to all of you for honoring me at this moment. First thing, what I want to say this is the 23rd episode, and I am a part of this maximum episodes. And I found that all the founders and makers are mainly very, very hardworking people. They are researchers. They were good scholars and they are good at management also. When the question arises before me, why, like me, the retired teacher, should be over here? The only thing is that after retirement also, these stalwarts have done such a work. And why should not I? They are the inspirations for me, for younger teachers, and mainly these stalwarts are the inspiration for younger generation. And this episode mainly, or this type of episodes, should be attended by the young geographers so that they can know how our founders and makers have made this department as a as a pride for us. And accordingly, they have now to pursue it. And for pursuing, what are the qualities they need? The main thing is hard work, which I came across with all these episodes. Second, about the research, that is field work they have done. Third, that is the cartography that they are doing, they had done, and the love for the students. This all has inspired us very much. Today, as the time is running fast, I will say thank you to all of you and conclude here only. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for your inspiring words. I too agree with you that it was not a safe sail. It was difficult for the founders.
Correct.
And they have worked very hard. And today we are enjoying the fruits. Thank you, madam. Thank you. The special guest of the event, Dr. B.P. Devliji, sir. May I request you, sir, for your remarks too? Sir, are you there? Sir is Head Department of Geography, Government PG College, Gopeshwar, Shri Dev Sumar Uttarakhand University Campus, Chamoli. Sir, आप हैं?
Perhaps he is not here.
Yes, sir.
He might have left.
Okay.
He was earlier there.
Okay, sir. Then I move ahead. Next, our chief guest, Dr. S.K. Chattopadhyay, sir. I request you to please give your suggestion, remarks.
Thank you, Professor Bindu Bhatt, Professor R.B.P. Singh, Devendra Singh ji, Professor Gayatri Sahai, Professor Roli Kanchan, and the galaxy of geographers who have assembled today. This is for the 23rd such meeting. I think, as I do past couple of times, that all the time I thank Professor Devendra to conceive this idea and to bring all the geographers of the country and to listen. It's a beautiful presentation, both by Roli Kanchan and Professor Gayatri, about Professor JANAKI and Professor Sinha. When I first moved to Kerala in 1979, there are very few articles written on Kerala by the geographers. One of the person was definitely Professor Janaki. And in fact, I had the opportunity to read her papers on the functional classification of the urban centers in Kerala. And of course, Professor Kurian, he has also a contribution, as you all know. I also had the chance to visit geography department in MS Baroda University, maybe around 20 years before, or a little more than that. I went to the geology department for a meeting of DST. And then I thought, okay, let me visit the geography department. I came there. And yeah, that was it's quite some time back. Now what is the really lessons we take from today's lecture? If we look, one, the people are moving across the country. Say Professor Janaki, she is basically from Kerala, moved to Baroda. Of course, that is one thing. We again remember the Varghese Kurian, who was the founder of the Amul, who was in the Amul and changed the whole landscape. So there's a free movement of the academicians, scientists, people from one place go to other place, get teaching from somewhere, which nowadays we see less. Maybe there are various reasons, but it is less compared to those days. And if we see these early pioneers or those who are founding the geography departments, they're actually, it's like a firefighting. They are going through many ups and downs, many obstacles. It is not a very smooth, it is not the, what is called the bed of roses that they are walking. They're actually fighting, making the space. And the fighting is on two counts. One, see, from the very beginning, you can see the geography, when it tried to place with the other disciplines, it has to cut a niche. It is always a fight. You are stamping on the other groups of social sciences. You are stamping with going a little bit with the geology and the earth sciences and the soil and all those type of things. So it is not a very easy task that when you try to get establish the department and get a place and get a respectable place, the department flourishes. Which is the weapon, if we really try to look into it? The most important weapon for this was they're committed to the subject. They knew what they're doing. The second is they're always based on the field and try to convey the message that, okay, look, geography is not that way a science like a physics or chemistry, but there's a geographical way to interpret the things. And geographical way to interpret the things comes from the field work, where you see the interrelationship of the cultural landscape and the physical landscape. Now, this interrelationship, which is expressed, in fact, explicitly clear in the field, that they captured. If we look into all these pioneers, they're trying to work with the cadastral maps. They're trying to work on the villages. They try to work on the land use, because that is the land use is the most important, what is called that impact of human modification of the earth's surface, which has become now very global. Like land use science is a very important science today. And with the climate change and all those type of things, it has become almost an independent scientific field, where all other sciences are coming together. So all our pioneers here are looking into that. They also took a line, and that's again a very important thing. That is that how do the subject serve the society? What is the specific the ideas, the specific lessons one gets studying geography that can be applied for the development of the society? Now, the development of the society from a young nation, when you got our independence, when you started this one, that was one of the main idea with almost all the academicians. That we have got independence. It is a young nation. We have a huge population. We have a huge challenge. So how geography can play its role in the societal development? We get from all those. We get from Professor Janaki's work, we get from Professor Sinha's work, how the subject can be really applied. Now, for us, those who have, the retired and, passed our life in the subject, we're still learning, we're still getting inspired through these lectures. Definitely young people, those who will be participating, they will also get the lessons. And it's a great learning, and it's a sharing responsibility. But at the same time, I got a little bit, what is called some sort of you can tell that anxious. That whether these traditions which has been set by these pioneers, whether we are carrying it forward. They were interacting with other disciplines. They are interacting in the larger frame. It seems today nowadays that we are actually contracting. We are getting into our own cocoon. Instead of spreading more and more, we are actually inward looking. And that's a danger. Danger in the sense the subject geography actually finds its place when it looks outwardly. So there's an external changes which is taking place, internalize that changes, and then respond to that is one of the most important, the research principles in geography. Whether we are actually adhering to those principles or we are contracting ourselves. So these are some of the cautionary points. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Devendraji, for creating this platform and opening this opportunity. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your inspiring words. May I request now Devendra Prasad Singh Sarji, if there is any announcement for us.
Evening to everybody. Time is going very fast, and I have two announcements. First, that on 24th and 14th of August, meeting of two action groups will be organized. As you all know, that we have started 12 action groups, and all of such action groups are being headed by our senior professors of the country. And on the 14th, there will be meeting of two action groups. And on the 28th of August, it will be our 24th episode, and it will be devoted to the founders of geography of Guwahati University. Thank you, Madam, very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Shall I request now Sudesh Nangia, Madam? Sudesh Nangia, Madam. Madam, are you there?
Yes, she is.
Madam, may I request you for your remarks and comments? I think.
Name it present in the.
Yeah.
She is here.
She is here.
She has muted. She is on mute.
Perhaps our system is not working.
It seems so. May I request Anita Pandey, Madam, for her comments? Anita Pandey, Madam. Sir, can we now go for presidential address?
May I
Uh,
speak, Bindu?
yes, sir, please.
Uh,
Please,
Thank you,
please, sir.
and I must congratulate you for conducting today's proceedings in a very, very systematic, effective, and orderly way. And
Thank you
in
very
fact,
much,
I
sir.
must be honest telling you that I had forgotten that I am the chairperson of this webinar. So you have awakened me now.
Sir,
And
I would,
thanks to
I am
you. And
sorry if it has
no,
gone wrong.
thanks to you.
Okay.
And really, today's discussion and deliberations were marvelous, very knowledgeable, many new informations were given, and we discussed about two legendary geographers who built up or who contributed immensely in building or developing modern geography in Western India in particular and India in general. But very important, Professor V.A. Janaki was from Kerala. Professor R.N.P. Sinha was from Bihar. And today's session is presided from a geography person from Bihar. And chief guest, Mr. Sukumarji Chatterjee, is from Kerala. So Devendra also had done things in such a way as if some favors are there to the legends of geography. And my welcome to all the guests, special guests, honorable guests. I think we are passing too much time. So instead of taking name of all, I welcome on my behalf, again on behalf of the organization on this platform, to all teachers, senior teachers, particularly many persons are here. Salahuddin Qureshi Sahab, who I had seen, Professor Rana Pratap, Suresh Nagia Madam, many others were my respect to all of you. And I will only tell you the two speakers, Raleigh Kanchanji on V.A. Janaki and Gayatri on presented in a very, very forceful way, a very impressive. We often say, first impression is the last impression. So something like that they had presented today. I had a chance or an opportunity to meet Madam Janaki. In 1978, I had become a teacher in Patna University, and she had come to conduct a PhD viva of my teacher, late Dr. A. Sami. And I had just started my research work. I was a young new teacher, and my research topic was evolution and growth of urban settlement in South Central Ganga Plain. So Professor Sami, whose viva was to be conducted by Janaki, told me after the viva was, you may discuss with her on this topic, and she would give you some idea how to proceed, because I was not getting much clear idea how to proceed. Because in the middle South Central Ganga Plain, my problem was that only Patna was the town before 1951. So all had just emerged either in the 61 census or 71 census, and they all were the village, looking like village. What would I, rather a thesis would be written or an antithesis written, that was my crisis. I discussed, I'm so, thereafter, I became so clear and clarity was given to me. And she told me to enlarge the area or cover this types of town, then would be able to compare and the present things in a better way. So that impression, as I told you, first the last impression, I didn't get another time. But later on, Dr. Dayal told me and many others, she had worked on transport geography, historical geography, and political geography, and many new things were told. I was not knowing earlier by Raleigh Kanchanji. So far, Dr. R.N.P. Sinha is concerned, he was my teacher. And Gayatri Sai, who was speaking, is my student. So my student presented on my teacher. Nothing can be so a matter of so happiness. I'm unable to tell you. Dr. Anand Sinha, we all were very close. I'm telling you, in Patna, when he was teacher here in Patna, when I came in the Department of Geography, Patna in 1967, July, as a student of inter first year, that was taught in the college campus. He was my teacher, and so simple gentleman, dhoti kurta, and used to speak in Hindi, while at that time all teachers were teaching in English medium. I had come from a rural background, so once he started to teach in Hindi, we felt a lot of satisfaction. A teacher of my own favor and choice is here. So we gradually developed a teacher-taught relationship in the best way. And then when he was selected for Baroda, before that he got a chance to go to Philadelphia or somewhere in USA. And the problem was that his brother, who was already in the USA, told him, "You are coming in the university, must get one set or two set suits and the English dress." And he was a man of dhoti kurta. He was so upset, and we brought him to for the new dress, and others told him that when you will be in Patna, you will be in dhoti kurta. When you are outside Patna, you go in the pant shirts and print suit. This is how the change, I'm telling you, came, that person. And he was a teacher of land use geography, political geography. I had interest in political geography, so I got another interaction with him. So when he was leaving Patna, he had many books of library authors on his name. He gave my names, and similarly, his wife, she's not no more, but was so nice lady, I cannot tell you. We all used to be family-like. Dr. Anand Sinha, after retirement, came to Patna, and when he was in Patna, he used to discuss many issues. So one was the geoceltic centers. In 1995, when the geoceltic was established, I was made founder treasurer of the centers. Then I became general secretary, and during my period, after a long period, I think 4 years, I was general secretary. I got the association attached with Bihar government, and when Bihar was celebrating 2012 as the Bihar Divas, 100 years of the formation of Bihar, so a special workshop was allotted to Center for Geoceltic Studies to study peaceful means to develop the resources of Bihar. And I had organized 2 days workshop. Book is already published on the name, publisher is the Geoceltic Center, the resource complex regions of Bihar. So this is how we work there. I also, in 2000, IGU Seoul, when I was in IGU Seoul, I presented a paper. I was first, as Arpizina also told me, the first who presented at the global platform paper on geoceltics 2000 year. And the topic of my presentation was importance of geoceltic approach in the changing global geopolitical order. And I was also the chairman of that technical session. That was the technical session of geopolitics, a hard discussion from here. Dr. Sudip Adhikari was there, and some Australian geographers, Italians, took the issue very seriously. Egypt, religious geography, ethical geography, what space politics, without space politics, there cannot be territorial geography. Many hard discussion and debates have taken place. I'm not going to detail that. Only I'm telling you, unfortunately, Gayatri was rightly telling, its purpose, objective, and aims were very high. But we failed to, unfortunately, when the next office periods came, after I left because I became by that time Vice Chancellor Nalanda Open University, I had no time. So then no other meeting was held. R.N.P. Sinha used to leave sometime Patna, sometime USA and others. So that could not move forward. There is a need to move forward. Recently, he was in Patna. He was telling me, "I'm calling one more meeting, and then you people see. We shall look into definitely how to get this." Again, he had left Patna University when here the retirement age was 60. At Baroda, it was 58, but he was expecting that will be there. So he went there, and the pension scheme was not there. So many problems came. When I was the vice chancellor, he came to me, but I failed to help him because earlier there were the court judgments and every. Once the PF is completely withdrawn, he or she cannot remain as a worker of the university. So cannot claim because he had 20 years service here. So he was fully in the right direction to claim that I'm entitled for pension. But the problem was that he himself had detached him completely from Patna University by withdrawing, by closing the PF accounts. So I could not help him. But he's such a nice person, gentle person, and always, even at this age, thinking over geography and geoceltic society. He had no other engagement, no other kind of activity. So, through this platform, I salute Madam Janaki, and also my best regard to Professor R.N.P. Sinha, and thanks to Gayatri for presenting the matter in a very nice way, and Professor Sivarji and Professor Imayar Ban. I'm sorry if I'm not properly pronouncing you. You are from Madurai Kamaraj University, 1984. I was there when Professor Jayachandran was the head, and he had organized a seminar on rural markets. Many stalwarts had arrived there, I remember, and we had got so cordially and homely interactions there. Professor N.B.K. Reddy was there, myself was, P.S. Tiwari, and many other persons, Professor S.M. Karimi from Patna University, Professor Tiwari from Jodhpur, and many others were, and a very fruitful, meaningful discussions on rural market economy was held there. Yeah, so you are on this platform, you are presenting your views. Many thanks to you. Similarly, Madam Sadhana S. Deshpande, she spoke in way, but so sweetly and so affectionately, that was enough for a skilled and good-mannered speakers. And then to all others who had spoken today, I may not be able to taking names, but my thanks definitely to organizers. But it was GP Singh, I know all the time he remains busy with this. A grand effort is being done. Amit Rai, and I think Amresh Kumar Rai, and many others are always involved in this. My best wishes to the host of the platform, and my good evening to all those who are on this platform. Thank you. Bindu, please go forward for meeting the other customaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. With your blessings and permission now, I request Dr. Mudit Makar from the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda, Department of Geography, to propose vote of thanks, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Mudit.
Yeah, thank you, madam. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my pleasure to present vote of thanks today. First of all, I would like to thank Institute of Environmental Research and Rural Development, IRAD, Patna, for organizing a series of such episodes. Today is 23rd episode of Founders and Makers of Modern Geography in India, on Professor V.A. Janaki and Professor R.N.P. Sinha of the Department of Geography, the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda. Indeed, it's a pleasure. I thank Professor Roli Kanchan of the MS University of Baroda for delivering a lecture on Professor V.A. Janaki, highlighting her contribution in the field of geography in a lucid manner. I also thank Dr. Gayatri Shahi of Bihar Education Service for giving a lecture on Professor R.N.P. Sinha, elaborating on his contribution to the field in a more detailed manner. I also thank Professor Sarda Nan Chaudhary of LN Mithila University for presenting the welcome address. I thank guest of honor, Professor V. Imaya Varamban of Madurai Kamaraj University for giving lucid remarks on today's lecture. I thank guest of honor, Dr. Shadna Deshpande of Vasantrao Nayak Government Institute of Arts and Social Sciences, Nagpur, for her important remarks. I thank one more special guest, Dr. B.P. Devdi from Government PG College, Koteshwar, for attending today's lecture. Unfortunately, we could not have his remarks because of some technical issue. I thank Chief Guest Dr. S.K. Chattopadhyay from Center for Earth Sciences, Earth Science Studies, Thiruvananthapuram, for his remarks and insights. I also thank the President, Professor R.B.P. Singh from Patna University, for delivering a presidential address in a very effective and a lucid manner. Thank you very much, sir. Of course, I thank Professor Devendra Prasad Singh of Irad, Patna, to work as an intercessor today and for overall organization of today's event and this entire series. Thank you very much, sir. I thank convener Professor Bindu Bhatt from the MS University of Baroda for successfully conducting the today's program. I also thank technical support team, Dr. Amrish Kumar Rai of VKS University, Ara, Bihar, for helping in organization, and Dr. Amit Kumar from Munger University for certificates and for managing this online event today. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants and eminent geographers, eminent personalities who attended today's lecture. We had Shri Kamal Sharma sir, Qureshi sir, Tiwari sir, B.R. Pan sir, and many more personalities who attended today's lecture. So finally, thank you one and all. Over to Professor Bindu Bhatt.
Thank you, Mudit sir. May I request all the present on and off screen participants to please mute their mics. We will all stand up for national anthem. So please mute your mic and stand on your places. It is being live stream telecast, so please.
Would sung the national anthem. Professor B.R. Pansar, please sing the national anthem. Sarda Babu, you are started. You are not audible, sir.
So I'm initiating.
Yes, yes.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे भारत माता की
जय.
Jai. Thank you all. And with the permission of the chair,
Of course, go on.
we would end today's session with a promise that we all will be back again with
The 20